video, maybe you will open your eyes to something that you have never fathomed before. So I know that if you are an AA or NA or any of those, you probably want to strangle me right now for saying such a thing, right? But what if I told you that there has been a quiet revolution in brain science and neuroscience, and specifically neuroplasticity, and what it is it's our brain's ability to adapt and our brain's ability to change according to using our thoughts deliberately and restructuring how we think. But there's more than that, because you also need to, you can't do this one day. This needs to be habitually done so that you learn to manage your emotions and self-regulate your emotions yourself. So let me ask you, addiction, would you not agree, is basically trying to self-medicate? And the reason you're self-medicating is because you feel uncomfortable and you don't know what to do. So what do? You try to get out of that feeling, and you use substances, whatever it may be, and you use it because it works and it gets you out of that mood. But what if you can do it on your own without having to use any substances? It's possible. So it is possible if you learn how to master your mind. And we all have this capability. We all are so different, but we all are so the same, because we're all human beings. We all have the same brain structure, we all have the same organs, we all have the same, emotions that, through experience and through genetics are just, they just come out in different forms, but we're humans, so we all are wired for positivity. And that is a discovery made by neuroscientists. And what they found was that since we're designed for positivity, when we experience negative emotions, that is our bodies, because we are made so perfectly. And think about this, we are made so perfectly. Like, how many people do you know abuse themselves, abuse their bodies, go to rehab, whatever, come back and it's like they're brand new? Our brain goes back to homeostasis. Our brains go back to normal. Sometimes they go back to better than normal. So, you really have to give the brain and the body credit for all the abuse that some people put it through, and it still bounces back. So anyway, what I was saying was that, what was I saying? Basically, we are all wired for positivity. So we have an underlying issue that we don't want to deal with because it's annoying, because we don't want to face it. It's scary. It's causing us anxiety. Anxiety causes us to get into a fear, like fight and flight stage. Meanwhile, confronting the anxiety is so much more comfortable than actually ignoring it and pushing it down. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid, right? So confronting it, yeah, it's gonna hurt for a moment, but through this process that I speak of, and that is in my book called I don't even know the name of my book, The Secret to Harness Your Inner Power. And it's not about addiction, but I just dawned on me that if you have all this money, okay, I quit vaping like 2 days ago. Vaping doesn't control me. It was just, that was it. I know it was only 2 days ago. I've done it before. That's not my only example here. I mean, I'm not minimizing the fact that there are people dying of fentanyl overdoses daily. I mean, I don't know the statistics, but you can probably more like hourly. I don't know. But anyway, the point is, I'm not minimizing it's just the addiction. So you have control over your mind, right? So you have power over how you think. You learn to regulate your own emotions. Then why would you need to self-regulate with substances? And why would you believe that something like nicotine has more power over you than you have over yourself? And I will tell you that I believe this. I believe this theory. I don't believe that this can cure you overnight. I don't believe it can cure. I don't believe cure is the right word. But I do believe that it will help, this process will help you process the underlying issues that drive you to use, okay? The underlying issues that make you uncomfortable emotionally, that are responsible for you using, and for your lack of coping skills, because that's a huge one. When you don't know how to cope and you feel like you just don't know what to do, oh, give me a drink, that's your coping skill. But when you're so angry and you're just like, why am I angry? Really? I'm angry at this? What? I'm gonna let this person ruin my day? That's another way to handle the situation. You can say, I'm gonna go get effed up, or I'm not gonna let this bother me. Now, I understand some people are so in their addiction that they use excuses to go use. That's why I'm saying that this is not an overnight thing. You can't go from that to all of a sudden being like, I have 100% control of my emotions. No, this is a process. And it takes as long as it takes to develop any habit, which is, I guess, research 63 days, who cares, something around there. I mean, somebody says, no, it's 65 days. Okay, fine. No, it's 60 days, who cares? Just around that time frame. Just, if you do something, I've heard, I know people don't like that you want your sources cited, but I've heard that if you do something and this makes sense, and feel free to double check, and don't use Snopes. They don't tell the truth, but feel free to research, back up what I say. If you do something every day for 90 days, it becomes a habit, good or bad. So I just want you all to know that you are more powerful than you think. So there is a process, and you literally, through brain imagery, the brain imaging technology shows a difference between before using these techniques and after. So you can actually show evidence, which is show tangible evidence, which is unheard of in the psychology field, because they'll just tell you, yeah, you have a chemical imbalance, and you can say, well, what chemicals are in balance? And they'll say serotonin, and they'll say, well, where is your data? Where is your evidence to show me this? They don't have it. It's just the psychiatrist had a 5 to 10 minute talk with you and decided that you have a chemical imbalance. When I was 13, that's what happened to me. They said you have a chemical imbalance. And I always thought that was weird. What chemicals? What's in balance? And how did you get that? You didn't even take my blood. Like, where did you come up with this chemical imbalance? So show me proof that a chemical imbalance exists. However, through brain imagery technology, they have found the circuits that are responsible for chronic depression. Okay? This is so interesting because it shows a lack of serotonin. I'm not contradicting myself here because these are two different subjects here. So that explains why in SSRIs such as Prozac, Effexor, Lexapro, that explains why they work. But they only work for a short period, because the same thought process that got you in to that state has not been changed. So it's going to restructure the brain and get you right back into that state, unless you implement mind management. I cannot underestimate how much this can impact your life, whether you want to optimize your mindset. And my book that is coming out is about leadership and being a leader, whether you are a leader in your career. And if you are, most people, that you're born to be a leader, you have that. But you can learn those characteristics. You could be a leader in your home. You could be a leader in your community. You could just be, you just want to optimize your mindset and be more self-confident. And this is how you do it. Accept yourself. And how you do that is by paying attention to tuning into your emotions. And here you go. It's 13 minutes in. I'll give you the steps. So, if you stuck around this long and you want to know, so I am not a neuroscientist. I have a master's in psychology. I got this from Dr. Caroline Leaf's book, 21-Day Brain Detox. And I used this technique, and I finished the 3 cycles of 21 days. And I don't want to keep saying this in every video, but it changed my life. It really, really, really changed my life, which is why I have so much passion, not to sound cheesy, to help others with this technique and try to instill it in others. Like, if I can do it, you can do it. I was a hot mess. I was a mess and a mental mess, and just thought I was broken because I was told that my whole life. I was told, you have this, you have that, you have this, you have that. Then you hear messages all around from society, the AA, from this, or everywhere. It's just, you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim. No willpower. You can't willpower your way out of anything. No. That's not true. So anyway, for 63 days, so 3 cycles of 21, and I'm going to go back to doing this on my private Facebook, because I used to do it every day. Then I started writing the book. Then my beloved Chloe cat passed away, 17 years old, in my lap. So it's been a rough month, but I'm going back to doing this daily, but I just wanted to make this video for you guys on my channel who have been watching you because you're young, and I want you to understand that you have more power than you know. So I keep going back and forth. I'm sorry. I'm just excited about this. So day 1. Now, every day for 63 days, you're going to do 5 simple steps. Each step takes 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, not long. So it's like less than 10 minutes a day dedicated to transforming your mind or optimizing your mind or just mind management and just restructuring your mind and getting it in order. And when you get it in order, you're still going to get anxiety, you're still going to get stress. You're just going to use these 5 steps as coping skills, and you're going to then on the spot be like, hey, you have an issue, you'll know how to handle it. And instead of taking 5 to 10 minutes, it will take about 30 seconds to a minute to manage. So, okay. Step number 1, and this is kind of CBT, cognitive behavioral, but it's deeper. So step number 1, before you want to relax. So there's relaxation techniques, and that's in my book too. I give you brief relaxation techniques, and then you embrace, something's going on, that something's not right. Maybe you're in a relationship, maybe you're jealous, maybe you're not happy, maybe you just feel just blah, you're going through the motions, something's not right. You know it. You know that you could be doing better. Maybe you're not thriving to your potential. Maybe you're brilliant, but you're not living up to your standards, and that could be something that was told to you in childhood that has stuck and you don't know. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to dig deep, find what that is, redesign it with a positive mindset, and then we're going to remind ourselves of a positive replacement thought at least 7 times a day, every day, different thought, because you're doing the steps every day, so different thought to accommodate that original step 1. So step 1, find your most dominant negative emotion. Is it anxiety? Is it depression? So what you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, where is this coming from? Okay, why do I feel anxious? Okay, what am I not paying attention to? What is going on? And maybe have I been feeling anxious for 2 weeks? What's been going on in the last 2 weeks? What you're going to analyze the situation, analyze where it's going. It might take 30 times asking yourself why, where is this coming from, why, and what. And I actually found a technique online that I never used, but I thought it was interesting. It's called the so what technique. And it was it's just another way to analyze. So it's just another way to help you guys analyze what you're feeling, and then you absolutely need to identify what you're feeling. So identify it. I can't find it right now, I'm sorry. It's just can I find it? Would it be right here? Okay, so this is from Healthline. So okay, where is it? So what? Right up here. Okay, so it's like, all right, so here's a scenario. So the person, could be you, thinks, everyone expects me to rearrange my schedule to fit theirs. Now, everyone is so selfish, or they don't respect my schedule. They think that I'm just a joke. And that's what you tell yourself, right? I don't know, they ask, so what? And then you say, so they think that I have what they think what they have going on is more important than what I have going on, right? So what? So that's selfish of them to not take my needs into consideration. So what? So if I want to see them and be part of the event, I have to just suck it up. So what? It means that if I don't make the effort, I'll never get to spend time with them. But I'm going to add to this. So, no, in my situation, I had an aunt who used to do this. She used to tell me, like, Christmas Day, oh, by the way, you're coming over at 5. All right. You know what? Do I take it personally? I mean, she only did it to me. But I have to say that she doesn't solely offend me. She offends everybody. She has the tendency to offend everybody and anybody in her own little way. So, okay. So she doesn't respect my schedule. Okay. You know what? That's okay. I'm still going to go and see my family, and I'm not going to let her ruin my day, and I'm not going to personalize her negative view about what she thinks my life is, you know? Now, if you feel strong in who you are, that's not going to bother you. So what? So what? I'm saying it. Now I'm saying so what? I thought it was stupid. Anyway, so moving right along. So then you continue to analyze. So why, so she doesn't respect it. So, and I'm afraid that nobody's going to ask me if no one's going to invite me anymore if I confront her. Is that a realistic thought? No, because it's your family. They're still going to ask you, and you don't have to be nasty about it. You can say, hey, how come you always do that? Why do you always invite? Why don't you ever give me notice? You don't have to, if there's something bothering you, you don't have to be rude, and it doesn't have to create a fight. So why can't you clarify something? So I'm still analyzing this, right? And it's given you anxiety, because ultimately what you're doing is you're projecting your negative emotions onto others. So even if they do think poorly of you, if you don't think poorly of you, it doesn't matter, because in my situation, this aunt is a witch. So everybody had something negative. Every get together, she would say something to offend somebody. So why am I going to personalize it? Why am I going to let myself feel bad? I don't like feeling bad. I like feeling good. I like feeling happy. So I'm not going to let that ruin my day. Now, is it worth confronting her over? No, I don't think so. But if it is for somebody else, you can. And like I said, you don't have to be argumentative. So as you're analyzing the root of your issue, you're being honest with yourself, 100%. And that's step 2, being 100% honest with yourself. And by being honest, like, I'll give you an example. Is she only rude to me? No. You know, hey, maybe my life, I kind of earned the wishy-washy reputation, you know? So take responsibility. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be like that forever, and I don't have to prove it to anybody. All I have to do is keep going, keep doing the right thing. I don't have to prove it to anyone. I'm not going forward in life to prove to anybody anything. I'm doing it for myself. So, you know, so that changes the whole thing, because if you're doing it to prove that you're somebody, you know, that you are this responsible human being, blah, blah, you got to take ownership. Did you put yourself in a position to have people think that you're wishy-washy? And if so, so what? It doesn't mean that you are. It means that's who you were. This is who you are now. So what? We all change. We all have gone down a bad path and then go forward, learn, hopefully. Okay. So I hope that made sense. So that's an example of how you would analyze step 2. Then step 3 is to write. Now, when you're asking yourself all these questions and getting to the root cause of your dominant and negative emotion, you're eventually going to get to an epiphany, and you're going to go, haha. So you're going to find something out about yourself that you didn't realize that was there. So it's like, okay, well, I'm feeling bad that she doesn't respect my time because I feel like I haven't, because I feel like I could be doing better for myself and I'm not doing the right thing. So now that's why it makes me feel bad when other people don't, because it just validates the negative feelings I have about myself, right? So put all that to the side and then take responsibility and say, it's not really about her, it's about me. So why do I think poorly of myself? Why don't I think good enough about myself to be, to feel like I'm good just the way that I am? Somebody who has a PhD is not, just a better person than somebody who has a GED. Somebody who has a better job is not just automatically a better person. That's nonsense. Those thinkings, those are cognitive distortions, which I'm not going to get into here. So you are fine the way you are, unless you really need help. And then we go back to the beginning where, are you having trouble with substances? If you are, do this. Find out what is beneath you. Why do you feel like you are less than? So then it could be because, and I always go to this, did you have a hard childhood? Were you neglected? Were you abused? Were you bullied? And then are you letting those negative experiences influence your current, the present and who you are now? So being aware of these things help you, because then you can find a solution. So that's why they say what is that saying? Being aware of something is half the problem or something. But it's true, because it helps you, because now you're aware, now you're supposed to find a solution. So then when you get to the epiphany, like, well, I don't believe that I will ever succeed. Maybe that's why. I believe my aunt, who thinks I'm a piece of garbage, I think she's right. I think I'm never going to be anything. And then you have to confront that and go, why? Because I did bad things in my life. Who hasn't? Did you kill someone? Okay. And if you did, that's not for me to judge. But let's just say you didn't. Let's just say you didn't kill anybody or rape anybody. And if you did something totally horrible, are you sorry? Are you ever going to do it again? If you keep beating yourself up, you're going to sabotage yourself and you're going to continue the behavior. Beating yourself up does nobody any good. You have to forgive yourself and move forward. Punishing yourself is keeping you in that horrible state. So write down your epiphany, and that's step number 3. So write it down. Write down for 2-3 minutes, okay? You don't need to write it. You can type it. Now, there is a lot of data stating that just taking a pen to paper is very therapeutic, but in this technique, it's not necessary. It could be helpful, but step 4 is you're going to go back. Well, today's for day 1 for some people. So if it's day 2, you're going to go back and look at what you wrote yesterday. And you're going to look for connections. You're going to look for triggers. Triggers can be people, like your aunt, or maybe a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or maybe somebody's just bringing out the worst in you. But try not to blame others. Try to take responsibility. But look for triggers and trends. And that's why writing is so important, because you'll be able to decipher things better when it's written in a thought journal over a period of 3 months. So now after step 4 is step 5. And step 5, I think, is the most important, because you're literally now replacing your negative neural network with a positive replacement thought. And from there, you are restructuring your brain, and you are going to tell yourself, and this is science, this isn't Lisa giving you this advice. So at least 7 times a day, you have to think of a replacement thought that combats, or that is going to address your original thought from step 1 or step 2 that you don't think you'll ever amount to anything, right? And say step 5, your replacement thought for that one, it could be, I am not going to let my past hold me hostage, and I choose to live a happy life. Because guess what? We have the choice. We do. So that could be a thought. And then every time you get a negative emotion, before a negative emotion, what comes after that? Negative thought or memory. Stop it before it gets there. So when it's an emotion, and the emotion's it, you get a negative emotion, stop it and remind yourself, I am not going to be held hostage from my past anymore. Okay? And then what you also want to do is put a reminder in your phone 7 times every hour. So 7 times, and then that way it goes off, and then you remind yourself of that thought. That way you know you're getting the 7 in there. So let's think. Another example of you feel like you don't deserve happiness. You could say, why? Then you analyze that. Why? Why wouldn't I deserve happiness? We all deserve happiness. Who doesn't? A child molester, they don't deserve happiness. They deserve to get their, I don't even want to talk about them, but I don't like them very much. Or people who hurt animals. Other than that, you deserve happiness, okay? And if you've done something bad, like in the past, one time, and you just can't forgive yourself over it, if it's not a recurring habit, and if you're not okay with it, if you have a conscience, because that's what separates a psychopath who hurts animals and children and people. They don't have a conscience. They don't care. So if you actually have a conscience and you've done something like that, you've done something horrific when you were a child, or when you, and you feel terrible about it, just forgive yourself. It's not who you are. If it was who you are, you wouldn't be trying to better yourself, because you wouldn't care, because you'd be narcissistic and think that you are better than everyone else. So you don't need this. You don't need mind management, because you're a psychopath and you don't have a conscience. So if you have a conscience, clearly you deserve to be forgiven, okay? And that's step 5. So as you do this daily. And my book, I also have a journal that is a journal that goes with the book, and that will keep you on task. But you'll feel better in about 4 days, 4 days, because also what you're gonna do, I forgot about this part, you have to monitor everything that you say to yourself, because you need to be your own best cheerleader, right? You need to be your biggest fan, because if you're not, then who is? You know, you have to like yourself. You have to be comfortable with who you are. And if only 5 people are okay with that, then 5 people are okay with that. You're people pleasing. Oh, don't get me on that subject, because that's another half hour. Just remember, as long as you're happy with yourself and you have morals, preferably God, you know, or some moral standard that you live by, you please yourself, you please God, okay? Because when you just say I please myself, that can get into some selfish, a range of selfishness. So you have to live by some morals that are pretty straightforward, you know, not just made up as they go along. So that's it. You don't have to prove yourself to everybody else, and you'll be happier when you're not being somebody that you're not just to have friends. You can't be happy like that. So anyway, back to what I started with, addiction. So the more control you have over your emotions, the more you are able to self-regulate your emotions and tune into your emotions and process what has happened to you in the past, the less likely you're going to need to self-medicate, and the more likely you will want to stay in the moment and enjoy life. And the more, okay, and excuse me. So if you're speaking negative to yourself, don't do it. Stop it right now. Every time you have a negative thought about yourself, stop it, turn it into the most positive version, but believable. Not, because that's what I don't like about cognitive behavioral therapy. It has to be believable. The most positive version of that negative thought, but believable version. And monitor everything you say. What that does, you become an optimistic person. Now do research on that. Optimistic people, they have higher rates of well-being. I mean, do you really need to do research on it? I mean, there is research on it, but I mean, doesn't it just make logical sense anyway? It does, and it's true. Now the people who are negative and who are always like, it's a beautiful day, oh, but it's gonna rain, and it's so hot, you know, are those people happy? They can't be. I mean, so that's a cognitive distortion. So anyway, like I said, if you do have an addiction problem and you do this technique, you are not going to be able to stop your addiction right away, but you will get there. Okay, I'm not telling you not to go to AA. I'm not telling you anything. I'm just telling you, incorporate this mind management technique into your therapy, into your whatever you do, into your life, into your program, and watch. Everybody can benefit from mind management. One last thing. People are dying since 2014. The death rate has gone on a decline for the first time in history. And it's due to preventable lifestyle choices and mismanagement of your mind and acute and chronic stress. So we're literally dying younger because we're not understanding the importance of just managing our minds, and we're not victims. We are not victims. We have control, and we have so much control over our minds. We are so powerful. Don't let anybody, any media, any doctor, I don't care if you went to medical school, I don't care. It doesn't make you better than anybody. Sorry. I'm not one of those people who think you can only have an opinion if you went to medical school. No. There are people who are wise and who have never even seen school. Just, so get any okay. I know I keep saying one more thing, but one more thing. Dr. Marissa Peele, she's a therapist for Hollywood and all that. She said when she's British, she was having a baby. They said she had a baby. They said, oh, you have to stay a couple of. She said, why? Because of the postpartum. She said, what do you mean? She said, I'm not gonna have postpartum. She said, stop talking to me right now. Don't even put this in my head. I'm going to be so happy with my baby that I just had. I'm not gonna have. I'm going home now, and I'm gonna take my baby home, and I'm gonna have a wonderful life with my baby. And she did, but there's so much more to her story. Her name is Dr. Marissa Peele, and she is amazing when it comes to this neuroplasticity stuff too, because she refuses to listen to society's negative just bombardment of negativity. She refuses, and I want you to be like that. Everybody be like that. Don't listen. You have more power than you know. So, okay. Remember that. Have a good weekend. Bye.